Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new around here. My name is Ashley and I go by the Ashleyness here. So today we are playing in The Sims 4 and we are in the neighborhood that the Cats and Dogs pack came in. I cannot say its name for anything, but I am working in the Hound's Head lot. So I did destroy that house and I am building a new one for my friend Destiny. She requested a very simple home, but of course I kind of made it a little crazy for a family that is very religious. And so taking that quite literally, I decided to build her a home with it that also has a church portion of it. And so what you can see here me building now is the church portion of the building. So I'm doing the little stage to where they can be up there, and then I do change this out. I get the debating one. But I end up doing the podium later on instead. Now she also has requested that this will be a very simple build and to be be off the grid. So as you can see, I do have to really struggle with that, making sure that I'm giving her things that make sense and that will actually function in a non-functioning electrical grid. So I do try several things here and I do settle on this bench system instead. It took me a minute to figure out what I wanted to do, and then I changed my mind on the color because it looked a little too bright in my opinion, and so then I changed it. So I wanted to keep with kind of darker tones, more simple tones, and yes, this was very tedious, and you're lucky that this is on 5 times speed because this took me quite a long time to get everybody changed back over to this color. And then just going ahead and trying to make sure everything's lined up properly and making sure all those benches are there. And I changed out the keyboard for this piano because I wasn't really sure if the keyboard would work off grid. So I ended up changing it to that one, and this is the entry into the church and into the home. I had a hard time picking out windows because I was like, I kind of want it to be nice and churchy looking, but like kind of rustic at the same time. And I thought about these ones, and then I ended up getting rid of them when I found this bigger one. So we did the stained glass windows. I felt it was appropriate given the situation. And then there's the doorway into the church, and then I have a doorway into the house that'll happen. I knew that I had these tables that I could use, and so I used those as like information ones, maybe for like youth programs or church picnics or something coming up, or any events. And so then I also did this sign on there that kind of looks like letters, kind of announcing that the church name, and same for that little signage there. So again, you got to remember that this is supposed to be both a house and a functioning church, and so this is where it kind of gets a little trickier, and so things are getting moved around a little bit. This is where the bathroom is for the male and females. I was going to do just a solid door, and then I realized that that's not going to really work, and so then I kind of make this little weird situation here for the bathrooms. I think it works out really good in the end, but it's kind of like a weird little hallway there for the men's room, but you know, whatever. I think it works well. Trying to stick with the old-fashioned look with the tile and the everything else. Again, I had to make sure everything would function off-grid. So I'm not using my typical like things that I would use. Like usually I would do like a counter with sinks, but I had to be very mindful of what sinks will actually work in this environment. Doing just kind of a mild tone of pink and blue to signify the differences. I'm doing this nice stonework on the outside. Just zipping around, getting everything taken care of. And then I found these and I thought they were perfect. I know it's a little redundant because I do have it on there already, but you know. Then I found these and I thought these would be nice over here. Realized that wall wasn't painted. Got that taken care of. And then came back over here because it looks so blank. Got these bookshelves in there so that like maybe they could be resources. And then I realized that usually there's like a children's area or a nursery, and so then I created this space back here for that. And then of course the family itself can use it, you know, when there's no churchgoers there or while the churchgoers are there. But I figured it'd be like a little nursery for the younger kids to hang out in while the grown-ups are doing their church service. And then yeah, just decorating the walls, making it look not so boring and very friendly. Bright colors. And then here we're going to start diving into the actual home. And then I do change this to be a stone wall, which I think looks really neat because it kind of feels like it's like a part of the church. Like the church has been around for a long time and, you know, those are kind of leftover bits and pieces of it. Now she did say she didn't want anything too modern in this house. So I did my best to not make it very modern and very just kind of low toned. But so the idea too with it not being on the grid is I wanted to make sure that they had heat for when it got cold, so that there is going to be plenty of fireplaces all over the place. So she requested that there just be 3 bedrooms for the house area. She did not know I was going to make it a church. She thought that was actually kind of funny when I told her. Funny as in haha, not funny as in odd. And so she said she wanted a boys room, a girls room with a bathroom in between, and then she wanted the master bedroom with a nursery attached. So I really like those like cracked tiles, but then I decided against it because I didn't want it to look like it wasn't maintained. And I do make that bathroom smaller here in a little while. But here, this side's going to be the master bedroom, and then again I use the stones as an archway here from the werewolf pack because I thought it would look kind of neat, like it was part of like the old structure of the church, kind of giving the idea again that maybe it's from before, like it's been around a while. She also said that for her Sims that she wanted her family to be making money off of things that they can produce, and so she wanted to do like there's that stone wall I was talking about. She wanted to do like the whole like candle making, woodworking, that kind of thing. And I found out that the gemology table, which is the first thing I put in there, also works off the grid. So I did put that in there. Painting, here we go. You see this is their little workshop getting made here. Trying to utilize the space best I can. Candle making there in the back. Flower arranging, all the good stuff. And then kind of getting the kitchen kind of going, and I'm kind of popping around a little bit as I was thinking about what I wanted to do. So I'm working on the bathrooms. Realized that this one's like way big, especially for what it is. So actually I made both bathrooms really big. So I kind of rearranged them and got them back up and running. And then I just, yeah, kind of fussed with it a little bit here. Got my lighting in because I've been working with the roof off, like no ceiling at all, and so like that's why it's so bright. And so it's kind of like, oh right, it's gonna be really really dark if I don't put lighting in. And so here's the lighting, and then here we're doing the counters again. She kind of wanted it to not look modern, and so I'm working really hard to achieve that goal. And then I don't usually do cabinets, but ever since Love Struck came out with that tiled background, which I'll use here in a little bit, I've been really enjoying using these at the top, these cupboards, so that we can, I don't know, it just looks better. I've been enjoying it. But of course, I would like to hear your opinion. So if you have the time, I would like to hear it in the comments. I do read all my comments and I do respond back to them. I do really appreciate hearing from you because it's inspiring to hear your opinions and thoughts and all the good stuff. So here's that tile background I was talking about. I really think it just makes the kitchen pop. I know she's kind of wanting not a modern, but I think like, you know, even old school kitchens had this, so I think it was good. So I picked out this table and I didn't realize it was like a higher table, like it needed these special chairs, but I think it looks really nice. And then I just kind of cluttered up the area a little bit the kitchen to make it kind of look a little bit more worn and used. And then I was gonna use the salt and pepper, and then I changed my mind, and then I went for the basket of fruit, which you'll see right there. I think it looks really nice. And then I was like, what do we put over here? And I thought, well, maybe they're growing some stuff inside, so I put it there. That particular one there, because it looks like they're growing things on their own instead of like manicured. I figured we'd put a little temporary crib here just in case they needed to have an infant chilling in there while they cook, and they can still monitor it. Here I'm making up the living room, and I'm trying to make these fit, so I had to move objects on to get them in there properly so they didn't look so far out. And then just kind of added in a couple like little things for the kids to do while their parents are sitting here, maybe reading a book or telling stories around the fire. And then here we're gonna get going into their bathroom, making it even smaller, readjusting where the doors are so we can make it more of a living space. And then I didn't like that tile matched, and I felt like it should be a little bit more worn out. And then I decided to change out the tile for wood. And then here is more fireplaces. I'm adding them in again to make sure there's plenty of heat in the house, especially during the fall and the winter. And then I do these smaller ones in the nursery and in another room. I can't remember which one. This room. Because I felt that those would get cold, and so they need them in their living spaces. Now I did do the same kind of paint all over the place. I felt like it would make sense, like they're not gonna really splurge on doing a lot of different colors. But I did kind of make, but they're still living in a nice home. They still want a nice place to be. They're just not living like high end. So this is the master's room here again. Let's see. And then I realized I didn't have any windows in the rest of the house, and so I went through and took a moment to get those guys going. Realized that wasn't painted. And this is really, really coming together. Now, Destiny has a tendency to have multiple children. Like she'll have like triplets and septuplets, and I don't know how she manages it, but she does. And she actually jokes around that her game is broken whenever she only has one infant at a time. So, yeah, so I gave her where she had multiple children, abilities in each room. She may need even more beds than that, but that's what she's getting right now, and she can always change it as she needs it, of course. And of course, I didn't make this house just for her. So if you guys are interested in downloading this house, you certainly can. It's under the same name, the Ashliness, the _Ashliness with one S at the end. So if you're interested, it is up on the gallery as of like right now. And you're more than welcome to have it and fuss with it and do whatever you want. You can bulldoze it. You can do whatever you want. It's up to you. Anyway, here I'm just putting finishing touches onto the bedrooms. Again, we have to make sure and be mindful that they can function off-grid. We've rotated over to the master bedroom and wanted to make sure they had comfortable beds, but not like too fancy of beds. Which admittedly, I think the girls' and boys' rooms, their beds are a little fancier than Destiny's hoping for, but like I think they're very comfortable beds though, so I think it'll serve them well. So here, she wanted a nursery attached to the master bedroom. And again, I know she usually has multiples, but I made it to where she has the ability to have several young children ages in here, where she can have newborns, she can have 2 infants and a toddler. And then it's got the little stove in there, the little fireplace. So I did want to make sure that they could rock a child in the chair there and keep it warm. So here, just finishing up the bathroom, making little touches here and there. This house is very close to being done, and then it's just landscaping. Just, you know, little fine details here. And then I did do some rugs. I feel like they were kind of lacking. But I was still trying to stick with the whole not very modern theme, very easygoing kind of deal. Which is hard because it's, you know, it's easy to just like, oh, whatever, I can just do whatever colors I want and go for it. But like, you just can't, you know, especially when you're going with a theme. So here I'm adding back in all the ceilings. It took quite a long time, especially for these little stalls. But we got it done. And then I forgot these little nooks over here. Now for this one, I did want to make it 2 stories tall because I felt this space would be better served with a height adjustment. And so I made just stonework inside and then added in these windows to make it more tall and beautiful. And then, okay, so the roof. I kind of played around with it a little bit, and I was trying to make it where there was just like a sunroof in there, and like that open space was gonna have it, but then it was like fighting me, and so, which you'll see. So all this effort that I put in here just went to complete waste. Waste of time, but a little bit of a learning experience for me, because I was just trying to do like just a little bit. But then it just, I don't know, it didn't work out. And so I started playing with bowing it and everything, and it was like, okay, no. And I ended up bowing the glass, and then I realized that that looked really pretty, and so I made that as our arched area of our church. And I think that looks fantastic, in my opinion. So then back over here, I had another hard time fighting with the roof here. I was really trying to make it work. And I just really struggled, and I was like, how am I gonna do this? So it took a couple tries, but I eventually got it. This one, of course, doesn't work because of the angles, makes it look weird. And then I settled on this one, but I had to keep resizing it and moving it around to make it fit. And then I was gonna do like the big tall pitched area, but then it was like not gonna work, so it didn't look good. And so then we ended up with this flat one. So yeah, and then just fiddling with all the little bits and pieces here, and then making more windows on this side so that it makes sense. And then here we're gonna start with the landscaping. So I knew I wanted to continue with the stone, and so I did that here, and I decided I didn't want it to go all the way up to the wall. And then I was having a hard time deciding on the fencing that I wanted to do. And then I settled on this low stone wall, which I think just really, really helps. Filling in this dirt area, so where it makes it look a little bit more detailed, makes it make sense as like a planting area. And then I went a little crazy with it, so then I had to go and delete some of it. Putting in the trees, so it gives a little natural area here. Now, I did have to turn on move objects on so that these could overlap and be more pretty. And then I fell in love with these yellow bushes, flowering bushes, because I felt like they really helped the stonework pop. And it just like the gray and the yellow I think just looked really great. So I really think they look nice. And so the other thing is that my friend Destiny is wanting to have a large kind of farm area too, because she is, like I said, planning on surviving off of just whatever they can produce. And so that is including gardening, animals, and just nature in general. So this is going to be an area where the animals can be, and her garden is going to be. And then I forgot I had my move objects on, so I had to turn that off and get these guys going. And she wanted the cow and the llama so she could get milk and the fur, the wool, and then chickens for the eggs. And then we're just, you know, making it look good. So here's like the chickens little area over here. She is gonna do some goats and sheep as well. This little protected space for the garden is over here. And I say little, but it's actually quite massive. And then over here, I give her some bee boxes so that she can have honey. And then over here I give her the little the table to sell at, so she can like sell her goods to the general public if she wanted to. And then here I'm just outlining in the dirt, the brown, just to make it look more used and walked on. And it makes sense because like I feel like it would be weird if it was just all solid grass. And then this back area, I'm gonna make kind of like a little trail leading all the way back to the front. And it's gonna be kind of like a little nature area, and then it's going to be like a little play area for the kids. Just a little one, nothing too big. So I make it kind of forested looking. I use the pine trees, and then I wanted to put a tree here in the middle, or in that area with the animals. I did do prairie grass here, so if she wanted to harvest the prairie grass, she could. If not, it just looks like wild grass. Added in the birds and the bunnies because she can get gifts and help with her garden with that. And so then here's the little play area with the swings and like the horseshoe toss. And then I thought maybe a tree house would be nice. So I put that over there within the trees. And then I put a little wishing well because, you know, she can wish for fortune or whatever she needs to wish for there. And I feel like with like kind of a church garden, it would make sense to have something like that. Yeah, and I'm just doing some shading and then just the greenery along the way, making it a little bigger so that it fills up the space more, and then just following along the path. We're very close to the end, my friends, and I really hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope you were inspired. I felt very inspired. I found this blueprint for this church online, and I just like converted it into this home and church combination, which I think just looks so great. I'm very interested to see and hear how people use this space. I'm interested in playing this space myself and seeing if I can survive off the grid with my resources and in this small space. You know, I think it'll be really cool. But anyway, this is the end. I added my lighting, added some stuff for the goats and sheep, and this is what we've got. This is what it looks like in the end, and I really enjoy it. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful day, night, or whatever time it is for you, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye!